There's a couple words on the interwebs today that are absolutely abused. Abandoned and barn find. 99.873% of the time that they're claimed, yeah, not the case. However, in this case, this 1974 Chevrolet Camaro is in fact abandoned, and we pulled it out of a pole barn. From the information I was able to gather, it had been sitting there at least 2 decades. Parts have been stripped, clearly doesn't run. So I'm going to do the right thing, see if I get this thing fired up and back on the road. Oofda. Welcome to Derek's non-fictional storytelling time. As far as vehicles I've tried to get going, this is up there on the list of the worst. I mean, it is in really, really sour condition, front to back, a bunch of parts and pieces missing. And well, it's been sitting in a pole shed for decades. That's what you get, right? Kind of figured I'd fill you in on how I came about owning this rig. Of course, scooting around on the interwebs, click, click, click. Ooh, what's this? You know, found this here Camaro, and people were just falling over the thing. The money people were throwing at this car was crazy. So I did the right thing and outbid everybody and paid way too much. Bought it sight unseen and went to pick it up. And of course, you know, the seller was trying to be fair, telling me it was rough, but this is literally just a parts car, basically. Now, the guy I bought it from wasn't really the owner. Well, not originally of the car anyway. He became the owner by buying the property. And this car was actually just left abandoned in the pole barn. The house that was there sat vacant so long, I believe it got tore down based on how the property was looking when I got there. And then he put in a new house. Car still sat in the pole barn for years, and he finally decided to sell it. So I don't have a title, but I do have, you know, a bill of sale and paperwork like that. Now, he didn't know anything about the car, zero history. So of course, I don't know anything about this car either. But, you know, we'll still try to get her going. One of the main reasons I was interested in the car, obviously you guys know I love the stories and the history that goes with the vehicles. And this obviously has a good one. But also under the hood here, hopefully, is a good 350 and a Turbski 350 transmission. So we can use that power plant and other stuff. Now there's evidence of someone maybe tried to do a restoration a couple times, gave up. Maybe it's on version 2.73%, not sure. There's just some weird, unexplainable things going on that I'll show you here in a minute. Now, if you're a Camaro fan, you know that obviously after first gen, this is a second gen, so 70, Camaro's changed and hardcore fans are still about it. The 70 to 72 is actually a really sought after car. By 73, people were like, we need a change. Boom, 74 came out and, well, it's not a really, you know, popular year. Headlights and grille changed. Taillights changed to a wraparound style here, so you didn't have to have the side marker light. There were some interior detail changes and stuff like that. But there were also some positive changes. You went from 18 to 21 gallons. This is more burnouts, right? That's good. Also, mid-year, they changed to the HEI, high energy ignition. You know, really throwing the lightning out. And then the big one, they dumped the 307, and you got a 352 barrel right from the factory. That was a big upgrade. And then, you know, third revision, call it, I don't know. The next big revision was, of course, 78, which ended up being a really popular year. 78 to 81 had the nice hood and, you know, the side louverage, vintages, exit thingies. You know, they look cool. They had a really nice, mean look to them. Tail lights changed again and stuff like that. But a Camaro is a Camaro. I'm with them all the way until you got into those egg-shaped ones in the 90s. Late mid-90s, whatever. You know, I'm trying to erase that from my memory is what I'm saying. That's when they kind of lost me. But overall, these cars, you see them on the road, you instantly know that's a Camaro. You know what I mean? Let's take a close look at this thing. We'll do a little walk around, see what we got going on, and you know the deal. We'll get in the trunk. We'll try to get in here. Whew, stuff. And then we'll get in the power barn. This is definitely not the original color, and there's evidence of a respray. I'll show you in a few different areas, but when we get the hood open here, we'll try to decode some of this thing and see exactly what we got going on. At first glance, you can see it's got evidence of being sanded on, and we got some crudely placed Bondo and stuff like that. I know what this is from. Feller had some tools or parts or something laying here. Shut the hood and uh-oh, there she went. That's too bad. Someone could have used that glass probably. Lots of rust down here, and we got some severe floppage or something going on. Some really good Bondo work there. I think that's the mirror control. That is the correct position. The door here, I'm not even sure yet. It's just, oh, almost came off. She's just hanging on by a thread. I think we're missing some hardware up there. We could probably glance at it. No, let it be. We'll get back to that mess here in a second. Expert body panel here. Yeah, that's galvanized, like 300 gauge metal there. Ooh, we got one little fastener. That's neat. But it looks like they were starting and then stopped. Maybe they got too far into this thing and just said, I'm done. And just that's where it sat. But you can see that was done a long time ago. This is a burnout wheel off of Independence. This one wouldn't hold air, so I had to get something on there to roll her around. Now the big issue here is the roof on this bad boy. And if you look really close, fellers, you can kind of see there's some surface rust. No, I mean, it's shot. Looks like a cheese grater, you know what I mean? And if you got holes in your vinyl, fellers, you gotta get it off. Just get it off right away, or get it covered up, because that moisture creeps under and just sits and bakes. And this is gonna need a whole new roof skin. Big, big, big project there. Probably a window channel as well. Can't quite see, but I can see moisture on the inside. Rear defrost. It's a neat option right there. You don't see those a lot. Spoiler's in really good condition actually, with the exception of a nick right here. Someone really wanted to get into the trunk of this here rig, and I have never seen such a violent entry in my life. All you gotta do is just drill it out, fellers, in a screwdriver. But wow, here's the evidence of a repaint there. Evidence number 1 of 6 sprays, I guess. That's those taillights I was talking about there. They eventually turned into more of a panel. It's got the cushiony little impact resistant bumpers on there. This side's still good there. More sandage over here. Look at these wheels now. I don't know if they're actual center lines or maybe they're American Racing. I don't know what they are. We could probably figure it out. This is not too bad, actually. Savable. And the rockers are pretty decent on this side over here. The door is actually not that bad either. But again, we've got the roof issue. Look how thin that is. It's really, really bad. A-pillars are pretty good though. So if a guy was gonna fix it, zip, that's probably where you'd wanna go to right there. This is odd. This kind of looks like they were gonna use a dent puller or something on it, but then they never did, because that would be the most expert dent pullage I've ever seen, because there ain't no dent. I don't know what, speed holes, maybe? I don't know what they were doing. Same here, there's no dent. Pretty bizarre. I should try to find the date code on them, but look, even the whole actual, I don't know, treadage part of it is separating from the wheelage part of the wheel tire package. Grill's busted up over here. We got dirt dauberage everywhere in this rig. Every nook and cranny, we've got dirt dauberage. Look at this. Look how thick this Bondo is. What is going on around here? Well, it's cardboard. Okay, sure. That seemed to have worked. Nope, sure didn't. Not at all, or even close. Should probably just cut that off so it's not flapping in the wind and whatnot, you know. I do have all 4 of these wheels, by the way. It's just like I say, the one tire was down on me. So, but that's basic overview. Front glass shot, back glass good, side glass good. I haven't rolled this one up yet. I gotta get a vice grip on it, but it seems to be wholly intact, if I'm being honest. This trunk lock back here was definitely the work of someone that found the car, you know, and didn't own it. And the reason I say that is, if you own the car, you're probably gonna have the keys, and also you're not gonna tear up your own Camaro like this. I mean, you gotta put a whole new panel in here. There's no way around that. So someone found the thing, wanted to see what was in the trunk, which is smart. You tell everything by, you know, what's back here. All right, ready? Here we go. Okay, all right, yeah. Not a whole lot, but I'll bring you in anyway. We got lightage. Not a lot of excite going on in here, but that's a good thing. You know, there's not a bunch of engine parts and whatnot in here unless they've been taken. Looks like original wheel. That's pretty neat. And we got original jackage right there. This is the first year they moved to the tab and slot style jack right there. So you could tell because of the way that it is on that unit. And then we got some mouse houses, you know, level 2, nothing bad. Mouse Sucker 500 will get them out pretty easy. Trunk floor's there, actually, surprisingly. Not that bad at all. All the original stickers are gone with the repaint whenever that happened. Now you guys have seen me dig through some interiors over the years, some bad ones. Whew. But this one, I don't really see the point in dragging all of this stuff out and laying it out just to shove it all back in at this point. Best I can tell, there's a complete car here. I mean, I'm seeing the door panel. We got the rear trim. I mean, pretty much everything. Dash parts and pieces and stuff like that. There's the mirror, of course. But we'll snoop a little bit lightly. We'll try to keep down the diseases I'm inhaling to like 3. You know what I mean? As far as the smell goes, it's definitely a cowboy bar in the middle of Wyoming restroom. Strong urine, latigo, mouse smell. You know what I mean. You've been there. Back seat is phenomenal. Actually, the front seats, this one's a little bent on, but they might come around. I ain't kidding you. Headliner is there. Lots of mold. Well, anyway, I'll bring you in. I can hold my breath for about 6 seconds. So that's what we got, okay? Oh boy, fan shroudage. That's good, might need that, probably not. Door panel, like I was saying. Bunch of trim stuff. Back here, air cleanerage. That's heater stuff or vent stuff. What do we got here? Marker 100s. Wow, I don't think I've ever heard of that. Huh, contains carbon monoxide. If you've ever seen those, bleep bloop it down below. I don't think I have, quite honestly. Some old parts boxes or something. Arm restage. I think that was busted out somewhere in here. Mirrage. Oh, here we go. Does this have a date on it? Nashville. Yeah. June, July, 1999. There we go, fellers. Could have been the last year, 99. That'll make it 23 years. This old gal's just been sitting. And this is all mold. Moss. All that in the headliner there, that different color. I know it's kind of hard for you to see. All that darker color is some sort of mold and it's got a heavy smell to it. Racing steering wheel. That's neat. That's weird that that's not locked. There's no key. We got no key. We're gonna have to address that. As far as mileages, 54,853. Okay, we got a tack in here. That doesn't mean it's a Z28. This is a Type LT Camaro. Z27 was dropped in 73, I think, the RPO, and they replaced it with the LT. That could be a U14 cluster upgrade. And if you got the U14, you got all of the fancy gauges here. I believe, could be wrong, probably not. Oh, badge, there you go. Type LT badges. Knobbage. Oh, that must be the trunk cylinder. Maybe it was the owner, because why would you bust it out and then just put it in there? That doesn't really make sense. The seat belts were also different this year, believe it or not. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. But she is, you know, is the rearview mirror good? No, that's also not good either. So basically we've got a good back seat. Console might clean up, and you know, that's, what else does a guy need, you know? Well, the part that 12 of you have been waiting for, well, and me, I guess, you know. Oh, that guy, 13. We got to see what we got going on here. Now, I did look at this briefly when we picked it up. It was one of those hurry up and get her off the property deals. Popped the hood, yep, we got an engine. I can tell you the radiator's missing, but I didn't really scan the peepers, you know, in close on anything, so I really don't know other than the rad. All right. Okay, I remember that part. Oh yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. There it is. Yeah, sure enough. Mm-hmm. At first glance, realizational. I mean, it's definitely there. Something that sticks out at me right away is we got a lot of speed parts. Well, not really speed, but she's been hopped up over the years. Also, it's got a coil and point system, so another quick, easy way to tell that it's not a Z28. Well, a little tricky there, because again, Z28 got HEI mid-season. Doesn't mean it's not an early Z28, but we know this is a Type LT for sure with other things going on. But I'll get you in here. We got some, you know, there's some chromage. Definitely didn't get this one home, but you know, it's there anyway. So here in a minute, I'll try to get the camera back behind that head and we'll figure out exactly what this engine is. Now, my hope, I got my fingers crossed, is that this is a 4-bolt 350 small block Chevy. That would be absolutely amazing. Great core to do something with. Even if it's a 2-bolt, we could use it, but I'm holding out for the 4-bolt. I guess we'll see, but you can see right away here, we got some header pipelators on it. We got some Moroso chrome valve covers. We have an intake with a quadrajet. So I'm guessing that there had to have been something else on there, I would say, and they just swapped this back on at some point. And then it's got the Akacel speed coil and the cap and the lightning hoses, all of that stuff. But she's just been sitting and sitting. Someone was taking this valve cover off, I think. We'll have to take a peek at that. I mean, all the basic chrome bolt-ons. Ooh, chrome timing cover. Someone's been down there in that. Maybe if they replaced a WP on it or something. Flexo light fan. I mean, they're really trying to get the speeds out of it. AC car. Z28s, you could get the AC in them actually. And then we got power brakes in this thing. You know, typical stuff. We got the shroud cover upper thing here. $350 to a $400 4 bar right there. I mean, it's pretty much all here. I mean, we should be able to make this run as long as it's not locked up. Fuel pump make it happeners on there. Look at this though. I talked earlier about stuff just being probably stolen. That was clearly Sawzalled. So someone just came in here and look at that. Just quick cut this rad out and took off. And cooler lines, there's rubber. Maybe there's a cooler down here or something. Otherwise, those are going to be cut as well. We'll have to take a look at that, but we got something here to work with anyway. Just out of curiosity, gonna clean up the cowl tag here and see what a guy can decode on. Might be something neat. No, just a basic rig. Okay, what do we got here? 74. So it's, she's a 74. 1FS87. GM Camaro. S is LT. And then 87 would be hard top. Then it's got a body number. Trim, so it says TR, and then it says 776. So that's really interesting because 776, I'm pretty positive that's black vinyl with white cloth. And we've got black on black. So that's been changed. Paint is 74, which is dark red. So I'll try to find on here somewhere the original paint to show you guys. 06B, I think that's, so it'd be 06 is June, and then B would be the second week. So it was built the second week of June, 1974. Well, I'll be dipped. So there you can see some of the original paint way down in there, that dark red. So they tried to get close-ish maybe when they resprayed it, but the original color was definitely better in my opinion. Yep. Well, the plan is, I don't have one, but I wonder if a guy shouldn't just see if this engine even rotates first, because I'm anticipating, there's quite a bit of work to be had here on this rig. So I'd hate to get the cart before the chicken's eggs or whatever, the hatching or whatever. And it's been sitting a long, long time. The only good news about that is it was in a pretty decent scenario. It was on concrete, which is nice. It limits the amount of moisture creeping up. And it was covered, although it does not look as if she was covered at all. So I wonder if I'll try to just grab the belts. Most likely it'll just blow into pieces and see if this thing rotates. Might have to hook a wrench on her. The rad's out of the way, which is nice, because if we need to get the fan off to get a wrench in there, then that should be pretty easy. Try this the lazy way first, because, that's the right way. Let's see. Spinning, so I'll put some pressure on the belt here and then pull. Oh, it's really tight, but it's rotating. There it goes. I don't think that's compression. I think that was a ring ridge. It's rotating. I didn't go 360 degrees, but it's not stuck. So that is good news. Let's go ahead and get the camera back there and see if we can figure out exactly what this thing is. Well, unfortunately, it's way, way too greasy to figure out what anything says back here, and I'd probably spend way too much time trying to clean that up. I know it's a 350 because of the harmonic balancer down there, dampener, whatever you want to call it. It does the thing on the outside of the engine, is what I'm saying. But what we can do is get this camera into the oil pan. We could take a look at the mains, and that'll tell us if it's a 2 or 4 bolt 350. We'll lift her up, drain the oil out of this thing, jam the camera up in there, take a peek, and then we know what we're working with. Yeah, get out of there. Yeah, get up there. Don't go up now. Well, we may as well inspect on this while we're down here, right? Okay, whoa, look at this. I can already tell you what that means. We got a limited slip. That's pretty nice. Still a little guy, but that's a nice little addition. More dirt dauberage there. It's been bottomed out. No fuel in there. Tank looks decent on the outside anyway. Pinion seal shot. That's just from towing it into the shop. So get that going down the road. She's really gonna spray. So we're just gonna pretend we didn't see that. What I'm really interested in here is these spring pockets right here always rot out in these. I mean, always. And this just appears to have just a little bit of surface rust, but wholly intact there. I'll be dipped. Wholly intact here. I mean, I've owned a dozen of these, and I'd say 10 of them, all of this had to be replaced. Absolute nightmare. And then up in here, for some reason, that's solid. That's solid over there. She's got muffletors on her. You know, she'll be quiet. Brake line, pretty rotten. Oof, I ain't even gonna touch that one. I mean, that's bad. We'll ignore that as well. Fuel line looks pretty good though. Body mounts are shot. That's fine. Looks like that output seal is leaking, so they did the right thing, just RTV'd the snot out of it. Got a newer starter before it was parked, look at that. That's pretty good. Wires melted, shorted against the header, that's fine. Speedometer cable melted, you don't need that either, you know. We've got one new shock, looks like a man row or something like that. It's out of fuel pump, those aren't the original clamperlators. Maybe not the original engine. I'm not quite sure. Here's those oh, those were cut off too. So we're gonna need to loop this before we really start cranking on her. Or that's gonna be spitting and spewing stuff. Oh, okay. That's different. So I've hauled some junk places, fellers, and I'm talking hundreds of, I think we're over 300 cars now. And I have never seen just a flat out missing drain plug before. I'm surprised the engine still rotates because that moisture just is, you know, there's no front door to knock on. She's just going right in there. But anyway, my plan is I'm just gonna jam a camera in there, see if we can wiggle around and take a look at one of the main caps, then we can really easily see if it's a 2 or a 4 bolt. Again, I'm hoping it's a 4 bolt, but we'll see. We got chrome panage on the TH350. I mean, someone actually put some time and money into this thing at one point. Also, I want to look up here. Oh, yeah, okay. So here's the column shift equipment. You could take one of these Camaro columns and put them in like a Chevy pickup. And you just grab the column itself, no lever, and you can shift the truck. This setup, now it's got a cable set up through the floor, and also, kind of hard to see, someone had previously crudely put in probably a 4-speed. So it's been swapped and swapped and swapped. Had a lot of different combinations in this thing, and who knows what this rig is. Got to be kind of honest here, I'm surprised. I thought the bottom of this car would be rotted. You know, it needs a little floor pan work, but all the frame is solid, and I was expecting that to just be donezo. There's, you know, if you were really ambitious, I mean, on the account of the roof and whatnot, you got something to work from here, actually, if someone is really, you know, fond of the 74. But I don't know. Let's get this camera in and see what we got. You know, this is a tool I didn't have for a while, and then I just happened to buy a cheap one day, and I've just been using them for a lot of stuff since. You can find them on that Jungle website or eBay or something like that, but if you rink-a-dink around enough with vehicles, you should get one of these in your toolbox. There's dipstick. She's low on oil, you know, verified. What am I looking at? I don't know. Let's get the brightness up. Well, for crying in the mud. This is called, I don't know how to operate this device. Wait, Wait a second. It actually looks really clean in here. I can't believe it. But I guess I got to. I'm looking right at it. Oh, we got a 4-bolt. I'll be dipped. There you go, fellers. That's a main cap right there. 4-bolt, and this thing looks really clean on the inside. I mean, clean, clean. Well, I definitely want to get this thing running now. So let's pop a drain plug in this. I should have one of those in stock. And I guess we'll just kind of scoot down the list that I don't have of trying to get one of these started. Wow, she's right up in my teeth here, you know. I'm gonna go ahead and take one of these lines off from the transmission and then loop the other one so we're not dumping ATF on the ground. That would be nice. It's expensive. Oh. Can I even reuse this clamp? Them ain't getting any cheaper either. Sure. Good enough for the girls we date, of course. All over the floor. Well, the good news is I made a mess. The other good news is the ATF looks good. I mean, that's clean. Got a Dorman plug here. Still cheaper than a valet. I ain't kidding you. Oh, good. I was a little worried that maybe she was just stripped out. You know, that's why it wasn't in. Oh, say, I wonder if a guy shouldn't just take this oil filtre off too while I'm down here. Wouldn't that make sense? We're probably going to change on it anyway. Well, do I want to invest that money right now? Yeah, I think we will, because I'm too lazy to bring her back up again. Okay. How do you run this thing? Sure. Bring her up. Okay. Always kind of a fun part. See what kind of filtres are in these rigs. Oh, this one was full actually. Didn't expect that. What do we got? We got a Napa silver line. Well, that's an old puppy there. The seal came off with it. Boy, that looks clean up there too. What is going on around here? Maybe I didn't overspend a bunch. No, definitely did. Way too much. No idea if the odiometer works in this rig. So I just wrote the date on here. I'm using a Wix, of course. If all goes well and as planned, you'll see this engine in a different rig here. And that's going to be a snazzy outfit. Okay. Which way does this wrench got to go to tighten now? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right either. Well, how in the devil? Okay, how am I going to over-torque this if it keeps slipping? Well, for crying in the mud, I just never had such an issue. These headers, I've had it with you. Had it. Are we even getting anything done around here? It's a good thing I ain't billing no one by the hour, you know what I mean? Okay, so far we've wasted money, but we know what we have, so that's fine. Next step, we've got to address this key. Now there's a couple ways around this. We could hotwire it. However, that means we can't use the lone wolf and we're down there twisting wires and stuff like that. We could also get into the column and get the ignition cylinder slider thingy out of there. And you can just slide that with a coat hanger. Fire the rig up, that'll work too. But I think I'm gonna put the $9 in it. I don't know. See if we can get the steering wheel off. We'll go ahead and put a new key in this thing. That way we can roll that forward, be out here, try to start it, whatever else. Plus, if the car does something in the future or goes somewhere or someone gets it, at least it's got an ignition stick. You know what I mean? It's got an aftermarket wheel. I don't know what I'm getting into here. Also, my son Bentley really wants that steering wheel in lawsuit, his 65 C10, so this might end up with just a big old ship wheel in there. I don't know yet. Vice grip, plier, who knows? No. Nope. Oh. Oh yeah. We got a GT wheel in here. That means we got the ultra rare GT LT. They only made 2. Nope. That's not even close to true. Well, so far, you know, I've bent everything beyond recognition in here. So you're supposed to use a puller, but you know, sometimes you can, there you go. You just, you know, man up. You can slide them off. Okay. Now what? Got this plate off here. 3 screws. Boop, boop, boop. Now there's a tiny little clip in here. And once you pick that out, this is going to shoot off and hit you right in the teeth. There's a spring behind it. Then we can get into the rest of the gook. Wow, that actually is not broken. You don't see that a lot. Now I think they make a tool for that part, but to be honest, I haven't rented a tool to take a wheel off in a long time. Just use a pick, fellers. It'll come out. Now I got 3 screws. Take this armature off, and then we can set this to the side and start getting closer to the ignition stick cylinder. So right where this pick is, there's a little, I don't know, notch on that lock cylinder. Push it in, and this will pull out, and that's what keeps it from just being able to slide out. Is that little guy there. You depress it, and she'll slide out. New cylinder and keys going in, and then, you know, just reassembly. There we go. Well, 78 hours later, hey, we got an ignition stick. That's helpful. Now we can get back under the hood and diagnosing on this thing. Well, the next thing that's going to shut us down, like reverse at 30, is, you know, the digitals, of course. So I'm going to go get a dead battery off the wall over here, throw that in the car, see how many electrical fires we get, and then we'll start chasing down shorts and all the wires that have been eaten and chewed on. The aim in the beginning, of course, is just, can we get lightnings to the lightning can? You know, we need the sparks, and then after that, you know, we'll deal with it as it comes. Can't even tell you how many vehicles this particular battery's been in, but maybe she's got one more left in her, you know. Sure. Ain't much of a tray left in here. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Get my battery installer 200 on here. Yeah. That's taunt. You know, it's on there. Good thing this one's an extra long flavor. Fire test. Here we go. Just take her easy here now. Well, I guess we better see if this has any voltages left in it first. I never even put the meter on it. Let me get that out. Oh yeah, she's got some zip left in her. So we'll throw this cable on, and then we got to get the sniffer activated and, you know, drink it up. We got to see if we got any, you know, fire, shorts, bad stuff. Because then we could just roll it outside and get it next to that brush pile, you know. Install. Okay. I don't see anything melting here at the charging whirler. Really bad fitting there. Yeah, I think we're good. I mean, I don't see any smoke curdling out of the cab. Suppose the guy better get a real one on here before we start testing the ignition coil up there. What do we got? 11, 9, 12? Yeah, that's probably good. I'm gonna stick the charger on it anyway and put that on boil. Might be here a while, you know what I mean? You know, before I forget a 4th time, let's go on ahead and get some dinosaurs and vitamins in this thing. T4, 1540 diesel oil. It's got everything you need. Get on in there. Oh, she's bending the funnel. You want to see something crazy, huh? Yeah, I thought you did. Watch this. Headlights work. Oh, not enough. Blinkerage. Blinkerage over there. The tail lips work. I got rear blinkers. I just don't understand what's going on here. Do we got stop later lights? Brake pedal's locked up. Can't tell you. I'm gonna say yeah, we do. We definitely do. Well, as in with any pushrod engine, whatever kind of V or flavor, or vertical inliners or whatever you got, if we can get lightning in the cylinders, oh, we can give her some fire, make it happen there, believe you me. So we're gonna test on the ignition can here, make sure we're shooting lightning. We can do that in 3 easy steps. Got the brand new ignition stick rolled forward, still no fire. So that's pretty good. Got my here digital meter up on the old V setting. No, I don't. Now I do. And we're just gonna make sure that we got V's at the coil, whatever the battery's at. This one's on boil mode. So I mean, we should be up there towards 12, right? So we'll grab a ground over here somewhere, hit that. 13.4, Moses sandals, we got plenty. Now we're gonna swing her around to the old horseshoe mode. I mean, it literally looks like a horseshoe. And we're gonna test on the primary and the secondary windings in this coil, and it's just gonna save, it takes a minute, feller. It's gonna save us time if we don't got the sparkles. Primary winding is the big one on the outside of the coil. We test that by the 2 screws, bolts, sliders, whatever you got there. And then the secondary is the center of the core. You just go right down where the old lightning hose goes and over here. Watch, I'll show you. I got her on horseshoe 200. Gonna go over here. And we're looking for 0.4 to 4, and we're at 3.3. So that gives me, primary is strong. Now we're gonna go right down the center here. Whoops, I'm gonna throw this up to 20,000. So we're looking for 6 to 20, preferably. What have we got? 6.56, 6.59, 66, 6.54, 6.53. Anyway, what I'm saying is the ignition coil is good. It has passed its health check. Not even gonna pop the lightning whirler cap off. You know, if we don't got sparkles, we know it's not the ignition coil. It's gonna be something there. Rotor button, who knows. These lightning hoses, they got some mouse chews on them. Well, quite a few actually. We may replace on them. But before we get too carried away, we'll see if we can make some noise the way it is, and then we'll determine what we got going on. Now, before I go twisting on the key on this thing, I think I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the fuel line to the fuel tank. It sounded empty, but I don't know if there's something in the line or sediment or rust or varnish or who knows what. We don't want that going through the fuel pump, make it happener. We definitely don't want her going in the old Q-jet. So I'm gonna go get a NASCAR rated fuel cell somewhere with some old lawnmower gas from the 80s, and we'll use that instead. Disconnect notice. Can I even get my mitts in here? Well, this one's gonna be tough. Okay. Barely getting there. If you got a 2-line on an old GM, the big one's your inlet, of course, and your skinny one's your return. When your fuel pressure reaches, I don't know, a number. It's too big, is what I'm saying. I'm gonna send her right back to the tank and just dump her in there. Well, there is some fuel, looks like in the pump, and coming out of the line as well, and it's got a real deck stain varnish look. It's all coming out of the pump. Oof da may. That's why we want to disconnect those. We didn't want to try to pump that through or send her up to the fuel make it happener. Oh, right on the old camera. I gave the fuel line here a little tug that goes up to the fuel make it happener, and it just literally crumbled. Just came apart. So that might leak a little bit. Gonna go ahead and get that chunk replaced. And this is everything that's been leaking. Yeah, it's not, well, she could run on that, I guess. So guy had this off. Of course, that goes into the fuel pump, make it happener. Thought I'd just clean her up in the old cheek poker here since I got it off, and look at that. right through. So then I came down here and cleaned up this section. So what I'm going to do is just run a brake line cutter tool, just zip zip, take it off right here, and then we'll run the line down to that. I'll probably put like 5 feet, just stick it up, bolt her into the fuel pump happener, and then we can just connect it up top wherever that lands. Boom. Fuel system's all dolled up, and I got to run her over into this tank here. And as you can see, the fuel quality is about the same as the stuff we just dumped on the floor that sat for 20 some years. But there's no sediment and chunks and stuff like that in it. That's going to be the key. The excess is just laying up there somewhere. But I kind of jumped ahead and got this done. Just get all the stuff underneath out of the way. Now we can just work up top. Well, I think a guy's got everything ready to start twisting on this thing. Even hooked in the Lone Wolf 6000 while I was under there and had the starter in my front teeth. So that's good. But before we start cranking on this thing, a guy should probably go ahead and pull out one sparkulator, hook the peepers on it, see what we got going on. I'd like to save the money, to be honest, and just use what we have in there, but I don't know what they look like yet. So let's pop one out and take a peek. You know, whilst in the neck of the woods here, I think I'm going to go ahead and finish taking off this valve cover, because someone was, you know, right in the midst of it. And I don't know if I don't know, maybe we got missing rockers. I don't know. Let's just take a peek in here. It'll only take a second. And then we'll grab out a sparkulator here. Oh, that one was loose too. So there's only one actually holding this on. Oh, I guess I gotta hook that to something too, don't I? Well, that was a mistake. Just broke the valve cover gasket. She is brittle. Okay, well, all the rockers are in here, and they're probably a rocking. They are stock 1.5 steel stamped rockers, which is just fine. Clean, actually. I wonder if I can get the head casting number, Mazel. See what our brain says about that. I'll get a flashlight, see if I can find that. Well, this is getting really interesting here, fellers. And I ain't kidding you. We got the 399, 8993 casting heads, which is very typical. You'd see that on a 307, 350. They're a 75cc head with, I think, 194 valve. Where this gets really interesting here, the plot is getting thicker than mayo, is it says Hencho and Mexico. They're made in Mexico. Now, I could be wrong, probably not. But if you get the Hencho and Mexico casting on the head, those only came on GM Goodwrench crate motors. If it was the 399, 8993 without that, then it was just your basic 307, 350 head. So that would suggest that at least these heads, at minimum, is a GM Goodwrench crate motor. Now I'm really wanting to try to figure out how to get all that grease and grime off of there. I guess we will eventually see it if I pull this engine out. And that would definitely tell us that this was in fact a crate motor. But so far, 4-bolt main with the Mexican-made heads is definitely suggesting that this is a GM crate motor. That was really, really unexpected. And now I'm like 17% back to getting my money's worth. Nice. I just happen to have, of course, I got about 3 of everything for small block Chevy. So I got a valve cover gasket here. Now listen, fellers, you always want to replace these in pairs, okay? You're in here. Get it done. So I'm gonna do the right thing and just replace the one. Get this thing out of here. Crispier than KFC, and I ain't kidding you. Didn't even have to wire whirl it. She just snapped right off. I was just sitting here thinking about it. I guess if you fellers got any more information on these heads or have any ideas or thoughts on this engine, bleep bloop it down there in the comments and we'll hook our peepers on it. Maybe we can get some more information on this gal. It obviously was worth it to someone to spruce this up a little bit, you know what I mean? But also, why would they just leave it in the car? Hopefully she ain't blowed up. You know what I mean? Okay, let's get this sparkulator out. It's the easiest to get to. Let's see, Autolite 24. We got toasted marshmallow with about a 32 gap on, no, 33. That's fine. A little bit of oil in the threads and whatnot, so I don't know. Doesn't look like it's going to be a smoker though. The strap isn't heavily fouled up or anything like that. Heat range seems to be right. Hard to tell the timing on this one because it's so dirty, but I think they're good enough to go ahead and leave in the engine. We can save some money here. These are getting to be like $4 to $6 each. Stick this back in and just, you know, we'll just say all the other ones are good too. I guess we can crank it over with the starter here next. And we'll be able to tell if anything is wonky mechanically, if anything's binding or hitting or anything like that. But of course we won't be able to tell if it's knocking, if any of the bearings or anything like that are out unless it's fired up and running. Okay, let's, I guess let's first see if the key actually turns it over. We put a little time into that. That would be neat. And then if that works, we'll come back and get the fuel line finished up here. And then we can start seeing if this thing will fire up. Ready? Going hot. Oh yeah, it's just me. Okay, fingers crossed. Hey, spinning really good. Also, did you hear how it was very even when it's turning over? Listen again. That's a good sign. That kind of gives us an indication that all of the compression in the cylinders is about the same. If you've got a dead one or when you're reviving something like this that's been sitting that long, if the rings are stuck, you can hear it kind of thump when you're turning it over. There's always a different sound. It won't be a consistent starter whine like that. Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. That was supposed to be your line, but I know you weren't paying attention, so I just, you know, did it for you. Next time though, okay? Next time. Well, this stubborn mule, I ain't ever seen the likes of this now. Gonna clean a few things up here. And then also make a quick look and just see if we got any big vacuum leaks or anything like that. Throttle's not stuck open, which, I mean, I like to party, so if we're gonna do that, sure, but let's see. Lightning can wire hooked up, those are tight. Got a couple screws and some hoses and stuff, sure. Fuel lines on. I don't know. Good enough. See if it'll bark off, make some noise, huh? Got some old gas and 2-stroke oil here. See if we can get some in the bowl. Maybe it'll sit and idle. Nope, doubtful. Very. Something like that, and then some in here. Yeah, that's way too much. Perfect. Okay, make sure key is hot. Now it is, you know. Bring the thunder! Wait. Let's put it in park. That might be more gooder. Now let's bring the thunder! Not bringing it. You're not bringing any. Ooh. That sparkles and fire down there. Okay. Got the battery charger back on boost modes. The sparkles I was seeing, if you see that shiny chrome, that's the Lone Wolf 6000 connection. She's just getting a little loose in there, you know. Went ahead and put my sparkle maker tester in here. Got her down there in the dark. We should see that light bulb flash if she's got spark. Now we know the coil works, right? So if it doesn't have spark, we know right where to go. Okay, here we go. No sparkles, so it's gonna be the points. Let's get that cap off, see what we got. Yep. Looking for adventure. Yeah, that's better. You know, at least you're paying attention this time. What do we got? What's going on in here? What is it? Can't even see nothing. Get the whirler out of here. Boy, that old gas smell right up in the face here is delicious. That needs cleaned too. Okay, that explains that. The contact pad is completely gone. It sat so long you can actually see the debris of it down in there, or what's left of it. So she weren't sparklings. Now it's a good idea to check these two, the mechanical flangers. This is your mechanical advance here. Make sure these aren't stuck or these springs aren't busted. So when you rev on her, these fling out and give you advance. See, fling, fling. And then of course you got the vacuum. Yeah, whatever. So anyway, I'm gonna go dig back in the parts drawer again. Ooh, that's loosey-goosey too. And get this out and get a new one in. There, that's a lot better. Also, you notice the condenser is on this. I like these points of condenser combo kits because it eliminates the wire between here and here that commonly fails or rots out. You don't have to worry about that. So if you can, snag up one of this kind. New points are in. Now I usually kind of just speed over this part, but I'll spend, you know, a little bit more time on it. You could throw them in, gap them with a business card or a matchbook. That'll get you close and get you home. Another more precise way is a feeler gauge in between your contact points there. Or you could get scientific on it and use an old school dwell meter. This is one I have here. It actually belonged to my dad. Just flip it to dwell, 8 cylinders, and then you're reading the degrees here. And we're wanting about 30 on a V8. One side goes to the coil, one side goes to the ground. Key on, you just crank it, make your adjustment until you get to the desired degree. On newer contacts, you just take an Allen key and adjust them. Some older systems like Ford or Mopar, you stick a screwdriver, there's a gap in there, like a little triangle gap. You stick that in there and you can work them back and forth. Helps if someone's with you, so like a twirl on the key. Chevrolets, you can use a Lone Wolf 6000. If it's a Mopar or a Ford, you got a steel me junction, usually over here or somewhere over there. So you could just jump that with the screwdriver, read your meter, and then make your adjustment. This one's all buttoned down right around 30. We'll see how that does. As far as the rotor here, the button or the whirly cap or the doodab or whatever you want to call it, yeah, a guy can just replace it, but you know, this one's not bad. It was just dirty. So I just in the cheek poker, just, you know, a tickle. Guy can also just take some emery cloth or something. Stay away from the 80 grit sandpaper. I know you like woodworking, but it's not wood, okay, feller? Yeah, this will work just fine, save a few bucks. Now she ought to fire off. We know we got sparkles. Way too much fuel there again. Bring the thunder. There it goes. Sounds pretty good. Not knocking at all. I don't know if it ran good enough to get a smoke test on her, but it's alive. She's a runner. That wasn't that bad a valve train clanking, if I'm being honest. Yeah, we got to do it again. You're right. Maybe I could bottle feed it here. You think? I ain't got much fuel left, but let's try. Sounds good. Sounds really good. Got a little bit of valve train noise, I guess, on the passenger side. Wow. Pretty unexpected. Smoke? Nothing? I just can't believe it. Look at all the rust that came out of the exhaust. That's wild. Just big old chunks. I'm gonna fill the bowl up here a little bit more. It'd be nice if I could get it to sit here and idle a little bit. Of course, we can't run it too long. We ain't got no radiator, you know. Where'd my button go? There it is. Wow. Accelerator pump? Come on. Got some smoke up here a little bit. That's incredible. All of the water or coolant or whatever what was in it is just 100% gone. Nothing is spitting out of the lower rad hose. I thought maybe that would have some stuff coming out. It's smoking a little bit, but not like car sitting for 2 decades smoke. What a good engine. It sounds pretty good other than that tick, but that might, come back around. You know what I mean? We don't know yet. Well, if a guy's gonna run her any longer, we gotta get some sort of water going in this thing. You guys remember the Buick Le Sabre? You know, the Le Sabinator? Yeah, the silver car, that's the one, hardtop. Anywho, I bought some parts for that car and they were sitting in the car. Still need to get around to that someday. And one of them is a radiator. I don't know, just some El Cheapo thing I got off Rock Auto or something, I can't remember. Maybe Evil Bay. This is gonna be a little wide. We might have to get a little creative and bending and unhooking stuff, but we don't even really need it like mounted. It just needs to be there, and then ratchet straps will take care of the rest. And then I got, 3 or 4 dozen of these laying around, and then a couple different upper hoses. This might work. This is to a Chevelle, I think, but all pretty much the same. So I'm gonna see if I can cobble together something here without buying more parts, and then we can get some water in this thing, try to get it idling, and then if it doesn't overheat, we got good head gaskets and all of that rigmarole, then we can move on to transmission. Does it shift? And then, lastly, very last, brakes.
But you don't really need brakes. That's what first gear is for.
This charging whirler's been rebuilt. You can tell because of the way that it is. On the radiator here, see, it's just a little too wide. And this is the first thing in the way. I got the bolt out already. And that's a support arm, not a mandatory arm. So what a guy's gonna do is just gently get it out of the way here. There we go. And I think, I already did the same to the other. Maybe she'll slide in. I gotta get these radiator hoses off, the ones that have been crudely sawzalled. And then we'll see if these random hoses, wherever I set them, I won't find for 25 minutes, fit on here. Oh yeah, she's just rotted on there, aren't you? Is this one gonna be stubborn too? Oh, there's a thermostat in there. I wonder if a guy should... Yep, it's not stuck. Just taking my screwdriver and driving the thermostat down here. Make sure that's not gonna stick on us. Use that hose clamp. Mazel. Yes. Yes. Yeah. What are you gonna tell me now? What are you saying? Oh, like a glove, I thought I heard you just say. Well, for Pete's sake, I got this hose in the way now. There we go. Oh, plenty of room. I could get 3 in here if I needed to. No, just barely fit. One of the reasons I like GM is they tried to make everything for the working man. You know, you can do it yourself. You can work on this stuff. You can change parts. Everything is interchangeable. And here's another thing that's really neat with GM cars is you notice in the bottom here where you see in light. Well, they put provisions in here for all the different engine flavors, the straights and the 6s and the 8s and the big blocks and you name it, because they all had different radiators or HD cooling or air conditioning or whatever. And all you got to do is pull up the rubber cradle, scooch her over, pop her back in, and boom, this Buick radiator actually fits in here. Lower hose, upper hose, boom, we're done. Now that top piece, as you can see, is going to be a little narrow, but we'll make her work. We'll put something in here so it doesn't rub. Again, goal is just, can we scoot this down the road a tickle? You know, we're not going to a foosball game up in Green Bay or something, you know what I mean? Just a little cruise. We don't need it to be perfect. In other words, let's not get it right. Let's just get it done. The other pre-bent upper hose wasn't fitting. Lower one fit, just a universal jobber, you know. We'll give this one a shot. Whatever comes my way. Yep. Oof. Well, if we lean the rad forward, oh yeah. Yeah, we'll make that work just fine. Let's reuse this one. Save about 80 cents, you know. And pop a new one on this side. So maybe I'll get this one seated first and then we'll let her relax a little bit, you know. Wow, I picked a 7-foot round clamp. Been twirling on this for 2 days. She might be getting squeezed off on me here. Does a guy have a water neck with the, see what's messing me up is the water neck is she's a straight shooter down the ornament here. What I need is the original side bender, and then the other hose might have could have worked too. Let me root around in my parts bin. Maybe up on the wall, see if I got something. I did actually have one here. This was for the original big block and independent Chevelle. But yeah, big block Chevy should go on the small block too. Problem is, it's one of these flush mount fancy jobbers where there's like an Allen head bolt that, you know, seats down in there flush, and the charging whirler bracket is the big old floppy one where the top bolt is supposed to go through the neck. So I'd have to replace that bracket, and then we might as well just re-ring the thing at that point. So I think we're gonna go with the 63% kinked off hose radiator almost into the fan setup here. And we'll just put tape over the temperature gauge. Huh, I like the way you think. I can't even believe it, but I guess I got to. I'm looking right at it. The darned old overflow pipe later, I just twirled on this and boom, engaged. Got all the water pipes put in. Need to figure out something here for, you know, to cut down on the friction and cutting and gouging on the new radiator, because that's still got to go back into La Sabre, you know, one of these days. So what I did was found these brand new, really nice wax applicator polish pads. Let's be honest, never going to use these. So we're going to set one right about there, one right about there, and then just ease this on like that. Oh, that's got a lot of protection in there, see? And then we'll run some bolts through here, and basically custom rad install complete. Well, that's gonna keep it out of the fan blades even. Huh. Well, guys got the radiator full of ice cube juice, or at least it's up there, you know, a couple jugs. Went ahead and paid the piper on fuel, make it happener. In other words, I brought the idle up just a little bit. Let's try to fire this thing back up, try to get it idling. At least then the guy could pull the blood stick on the go forward, go backwards shift machine. Make sure we don't want to be running that too long. If it's too low, burn the pump up on that thing. But remember, when we spilt a bunch on the floor earlier, it looked pretty good actually. So that's, you know, we're hopeful is what I'm saying. Accelerator pump seems to be working on the carb, which I don't understand that. It's sounding pretty darn good so far. I'm gonna pull out this spark tester thing quick And then we'll give her another go, see if we can get her to sit here and idle. And then, well, I know this looks like a margarita. But what I did was use the last of my chainsaw fuel. This is true fuel, ethanol free. It's like 93 octane, 92 octane, and it's got, you know, just a tickle of oil in there. This is what we use to lube her up here. Sure. Mm-hmm. Just something to throw out there before you start laying your arms over these fan blades. Get in here and pull on them and make sure, you know, physically and mechanically, they're not going to come apart and, you know, mess up your golf handicap. You know what I mean? This one seems to be pretty decent, but still makes a guy just, you know, grit his teeth just a little bit anyway. There we go. Still not smoking. I don't understand that. I don't know. Okay. Must be a pretty decent engine. I can already tell you it needs a carburetor kit. Idle circuit's messed up. Probably got a bunch of junk in it. The fuel pump making happen or is happening. It's pumping something, so that's good. It's got enough juice in it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that blood stick quick as soon as I find my grease rag that I lost 15 times. Oh, there it is. Then we'll try to bring down the rippums a little and we'll try reverse and drive. I know I don't have brakes, so I don't want to take her through the garage door, you know. Them are expensive. I ain't kidding you. Oh yeah, she's low. I'm gonna see if I can bring the idle down a little bit now. Okay, more gooder. More ice cube juice. I got a sticky lifter on the drinker side for sure. She's just tippy tapping in there like a dance contest. Okay, back to ATF, O'Reilly's brand, that'll get her done, right? You know, we just want to make shift happen, is what I'm saying. Can I hit the can? Yeah. Nailed it. She is starting to smoke a little more, which is probably good. The rings are coming around, a lot of that gunk and varnish and grime starting to wear away and burn. 1999. Think about that. It's crazy. I'm gonna go with one more because I just feel it in my bones, like it told me this needed to happen. So I got a second one. I mean, Larry Bird and I could have hung out, is what I'm saying. How we doing on fuel? Yep, good. All right. Let's bring down the idle again. Bring it down. That lifter is still not happy. Not too far now, about 850. Okay. I can't hardly read the gauges. It says it's at operating temperature and it's charging. Sure, we'll take it. It must have oil pressure. She'd be locked up by now. I had probably 2 gallons of gas in there, completely gone. Just sitting here idling for a few minutes. Also, I don't want to get too excited, but listen, my ear meter is pretty dialed. There's a big difference between vacuum leak, burnt valve, running rough, sitting around, exhaust notes, and a little bit of overlap. Fellers, I might be hearing just a touch of cam. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think, but listen, that would explain that chrome timing cover. You're not going to get in there and do that unless you're all the way in. Usually, that's a lot of work tearing all that off just to put a piece of chrome on, especially when it don't get you home. You know what I mean? But it sounded pretty good, and she definitely is thirsty. This had to have had a Holly or an Edelbrock fuel make it happen on it, and somebody switched it at some point. The secondary butterflies are also hanging up. I did put 2 more quarts of ATF in it, which means the old shift-o-matic was just bone dry. So I'm going to put a couple more gallons in this, check the shift maker again, and then we're going to give her the old Italian tune-up. I'm going to give her a little bit of Barium and B12, a little bit of a vitamin injection. Right down the app here, clean up the valves, combustion chamber, and those sparkulators just a little bit, you know. Listen to that. Can't see nothing. This thing runs like Jerome Bettis, and I ain't kidding you. Now, I'm gonna have to go out of order a little bit here. Probably should check in on the stopulators. If I throw this thing in drive, you know, that could be an issue on the lift. So I know that I've got a frozen brake pedal, which means the piston is stuck within the master cylinder. And I gotta be a little careful here because there's an O-ring around that, and that's how, you know, makes pressure and stuff. So I'm gonna pop the cap off. It's probably bone dry. I'm gonna throw some juice in there, let that get down in and soak that up for a few minutes. And then I'll go in and try to press on that pedal. If you just get in there and start hogging around with the size 13 cowboy boop, you're gonna mess something up. It's gonna rip the seal, is what I'm saying. I don't wanna do that because that's another, what, 60 bucks that we don't need to do, plus bleeding the brakes and on and on. So let me get some brake juice. I'll fill this thing up and we'll go from there. Well, am I right or am I right? Well, for Pete's sake. Oh, I was wrong. Well, it's late enough in the year to admit that. We got juice in here, fellers, which is not good. They shouldn't be stuck like that with juice in here, but now I'll put this lid back on and I guess, you know, we're gonna do the right thing and just go start hogging around with the size 13 in there. You know, that's how you fix them, like I was saying earlier. Hats, get on there, get on. I can't believe there's juice in there. Normally they sit this long, there's like a film that builds up in there, kind of like the top of butterscotch pudding. Yeah, I'll get that in a minute. Hey, anyway, real quick. Do you think you can make some butterscotch pudding tonight? That's what I'm asking. Luckily, with this type of operation, either bad things happen or worse things happen. Okay. Yep. Okay, yep. All right, okay. I can see the pedal now. Oh yeah, she's locked up. Come on, do something. Oh, boy, I ain't got the leverage I need. No. Well, I ain't never seen something like this before. She's locked up. So this thing is shot. This just happened to Jessica's Escalade as well. See that leak back there? That's coming out of the rear of the master cylinder. The back seal of that is shot and popped. And it's also obviously frozen. So this is no bueno. But here's the thing. I said we were going to drive this thing. We're driving it. Probably ought to not stick it on the highway, but I got some hay fields. You know what I mean? So let me button this thing up. We got to get the fuel system, you know, spec'd, DOT. And I think we're just going to try to go shooting right out of the shop. I'll swerve hard, hit the hay field, and then we'll bring it. I got 2.5 gallons of fuel. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? No sense in testing the transmission because if it goes in the drive, I can't stop anyway. So we're gonna do the thing. Now the engine runs. It runs really good. What's the likelihood that the transmission's blown and that's why they parked the thing? It's probably up there, you know. But we're just gonna have to find out. Oofda. Yeah, that'll work. It's got to be just like that, see, because the fuel line, it can't get snagged up and snipped off in the wheel over here. So we got her affixed like that. Plus, you know, fuel level. See here? Peepers coming straight down. Shop line checking in. And then over here, you know, of course, we got the door that's not going to close. That's going to flap. We got the wrong wheel with the wrong lug nuts. That's barely hanging on. Should be fine. That's going to be flip-flapping up and down. And then, of course, there's still this situation, which I like fan shrouds, but that's slightly inconvenient. What do you got in there? You should be hunting this one yet. See if you find something. Got to move old Independence here. She's in direct line of fire. You know, the more I think about this, the worse it gets. It's probably like Evel Knievel before his jumps. Except hopefully I don't fold my shin behind my earlobe. You know what I mean? I could get an armrest in here though. Okay, wonder if I could. Oh, it's kinda there. All right, well, first step. Oh, yeah. Okay. And first gear. Oh, we're moving. It's got first gear. Yeah, there's zero. Zero brakes. Uh-oh. I am stuck. Do we have reverse? We do. Oh, let's just go this way for a while. We gotta hook it. Hook! First gear. Door's shut. Door's open again. Door's closed. Oh, yeah. Could probably go check on the cows if I could get up the hill. That's the key. I gotta go this way. second gear. Oh, a little far east. A little far east. We're in the trees. Just ignore it. Keep going. You gotta fight through it. You gotta fight through that. No brakes. Well, I did throw it in park, but it didn't shut us down in time. I can tell you that much. All right, well, test drive. You know, I think considering everything went well. It's got reverse. It's got first and second for sure. And it steers pretty good. I mean, the power steering works. Comfortable. Wish it had a tape deck or something, but it don't. Well, you know, came in a little hot towards the tree row. I'll admit it, all right? Some sort of loud flying creature. 1974 Camaro. Sat in a pole barn for over 2 decades. Once again, running and driving. Pretty good if you just, you know, don't remember it doesn't have brakes. Don't know what to do with this thing now. I'm relying on you guys to bleep bloop it down there in the comments. I can tell you for now it's going to sit right here in the tree row. About a perfect parking job if I'm going to be honest. Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it very much. We'll see you next time.